press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello students, welcome back to the video classes. Today let us move on to the part 46 of some basic principles and techniques. In the previous class we discussed about one of the important structural isomerism, which is nothing but tautomerism, right? So in tautomerism we get two isomers, one is keto form, another one is enol form, in which enol form is less stable, therefore its percentage is less, whereas keto form is more stable and hence its percentage is more. So, but in some cases there may be increase in the stability of enol form. When the stability of enol form increases, definitely the percentage of enol form of that compound also increases. In some cases, the percentage of enol form is much more higher than the keto form. That depends on the nature of the molecule. For example, I have given due to hydrogen bonding, the percentage of enol form is much more higher. But because of the back or the extended conjugation, so we will get the percentage of enol form is more compared to that of other cases, but the percentage of enol form is less compared to that of keto form, but there is a increase in the enol form. So it shows that there may be a chances of stability of enol form. And I left with two more conditions where we can get much more higher percentage of enol form, and that one is nothing but the aromatic character. If there any aromatic character is present, then because of resonance stabilization, the enol form is get stabilized and thereby the percentage of enol form increases. So let us consider the example here. See here, cyclohex 2,4 diene 1-one. So this is the compound given, and here we have alpha hydrogen. So this is alpha hydrogen, and this is alpha carbon, two hydrogen atoms are there. So it undergoes tautomerism. This shifts here and this shifts here, and this negative charge abstract the proton. So you can get the compound like this. You will get the compound. So this is phenol. Phenol form is enol form here. So this is enol form, and in most of the cases, and this is keto form, correct? Keto form. So under ordinary condition, always phenol form exists rather than this ketone form. So keto form does not exist, and because its percentage is very less, if it exists also its percentage is very less because it is very less stable. Whereas enol form, that is phenol, so it exists in a higher percentage. Under ordinary condition, phenol exists, but enol form, almost this compound exists in the enol form, and the enol form is nothing but phenol. So phenol is more stable. Why it is more stable? The percentage is very high. It is around 96.3%. It is around 96.3%. So why phenol form is more stable? Because of this benzene ring, and this benzene ring stabilizes the molecule through resonance stabilization. So it stabilizes the molecule through resonance. You know that the resonance energy of phenol is, that is the benzene ring present in the phenol is around 150 kilojoules per mole, correct? So the resonance energy of benzene ring present in a phenol is around 150 kilojoules per mole. It means to say, when a hydrogen bond formation takes place, it liberates some amount of energy. Because of that, the enol form is get stabilized. But here, because of the resonance effect of the benzene ring present in phenol, enol form is get stabilized, and that is called resonance stabilization. and the resonance energy. You know that what do you mean by resonance energy and what type of compound can give resonance, that you studied in your chemical bonding unit. So the resonance structures of benzene, that we can write the two important resonating structures. So this is these are the two canonical structures, and which is equivalent to the resonance hybrid, correct? So this is resonance hybrid, and these are called resonating structures or canonical structures or the contributing structures. So keep on changing from this form to this form. These two are the contributing structures, and when the structure changes from this form to this form due to the movement of the pi electrons, it liberates some energy, correct? And thereby the second form is more stable than the first form. And this is the contributing structure or the resonance structure which containing least energy, and this is resonance hybrid. The difference in the energy content of the contributing structure or the resonance structure which containing least energy and the energy content of the resonance hybrid is called resonance energy. So this is resonance energy. Whatever the amount of energy liberated during the conversion of last resonance structure to resonance hybrid, this is resonance energy, and that resonance energy is around 150 kilojoules per mole. So it stabilizes the molecule by almost 150 kilojoules per mole. More the energy liberated, more is the stability of that molecule. So because of that reason, due to benzene ring present in phenol, due to aromatic character, due to its resonance, it is stabilized, and therefore the percentage of enol form is much more higher than the keto form, and it is due to resonance stabilization. So remember, when a molecule in a enol form, if there is a chances of formation of hydrogen bonding, there also the enol form stabilizes. When there is a chances of resonance due to the presence of aromatic character of the benzene ring, there also enol form stabilizes, but the stability due to aromatic character is much more compared to that of the stability due to hydrogen bonding, because by hydrogen bonding the enol form is stabilized around, so the 29 kilojoules per mole. It is stabilized by only 29 kilojoules per mole if there is a hydrogen bonding. So when the enol formally hydrogen bond formation aitu andre, because of that hydrogen bonding, that enol form is stabilized by this much of energy. Andre during the formation of that enol form, around 29 kilojoules of energy is get liberated, and it is stabilized by the energy of 29 kilojoules per mole. Whereas if a enol form shows a resonance stabilization due to the aromatic character of benzene, then it is stabilized by the energy of around 63 to 64 kilojoules per mole. Whenever the enol form, so containing benzene ring or the aromatic ring, due to its aromatic character, due to its resonance, it increases the stability of that enol molecule or enol form by 63 to 64 kilojoules per mole. So that is the difference of hydrogen bonding stabilization and resonance stabilization. This is hydrogen bonding stabilization. This is resonance stabilization. Clear? So this is one more reason how the enol forms get stabilized by due to hydrogen bonding, due to extended conjugation, and third one is due to aromatic character. And let us move on to the last one. Last one is nothing but steric hindrance. Steric hindrance. And I have given the same example, acetyl acetone. I have given the same example, that is acetyl acetone, and you know this, and after tautomerism it gives a enol form. In enol form, it is stabilized by hydrogen bonding. This is intramolecular hydrogen bonding. Hydrogen bonding in the enol form. Therefore, percentage of the enol form is increased to 91 to 93%. 91 to 93% means it is much more higher than the keto form. Now, let me take one more example here. CH3, C double bond O, C H, CH3 and C double bond O, CH3. This is alpha carbon. Therefore, alpha methyl acetyl acetone. What is this compound? Alpha methyl acetyl acetone. Again to the alpha carbon, one more methyl group is get attached. When it undergoes tautomerism, the same hydrogen shifts here and it becomes OH double bond CH3 C double bond O CH3. And here also the enol form is get stabilized by hydrogen bonding. This is also get stabilized by hydrogen bonding. See here, this is also get stabilized by hydrogen bonding. Clear? So both are get stabilized by hydrogen bonding. This is an enol form. Correct? So both are get stabilized by hydrogen bonding. When both are get stabilized by hydrogen bonding means the percentage of enol form must be almost same as that in this case. But what is the percentage of enol form? 43.5 to 44.5%. See here, in this case the percentage of enol form is 91 to 93%. Whereas in this case it is only 43.5 to 44.5%. What is the reason? Because both enol forms are get stabilized by the intramolecular hydrogen bonding, but the expected percentage is almost 91 to 93% in this case also, but it is decreased to 43.5 to 44.5%. The reason for that is the presence of this one more additional methyl group. Already it containing CH3 group, and you know that CH3 group is a bulky group. Presence of one more bulky group in between these two carbon atoms. So because of this bulky methyl group, it destabilizes the hydrogen bonding. So it restricts the formation of hydrogen bonding to some extent. So since it restricts or repels to the formation of hydrogen bonding, it restricts the formation of hydrogen bonding. So it little bit destabilized, it get destabilized. So therefore the percentage of enol form is less. So because of the presence of bulky methyl group, the bulky methyl group causes repulsion. And what is that repulsion called? Steric repulsion. Steric repulsion, or you can call it as steric hindrance. So the presence of bulky 3 methyl groups, one more methyl group, this gets attached to again alpha carbon, that alpha carbon which is ready to migrate its hydrogen. So this from this carbon only the hydrogen migrates to the oxygen here, and this carbon, due to the presence of this methyl group, bulky methyl group, it hinders the formation of intramolecular hydrogen bonding. It restricts to some extent to the formation of hydrogen bonding, and that causes a steric repulsion, or you can call it as steric hindrance. So because of that steric hindrance, the percentage of enol form decreases, the stability of enol form decreases. In this case, the bulkiness or the steric hindrance destabilizes the intramolecular hydrogen bonding. Therefore, it destabilizes the enol form, and hence the percentage of enol form is less. So all all these points are very important. In tautomerism, we need to come across under what condition the tautomerism takes place and what is the percentage of enol form. As I said, in some cases the percentage of enol form is less, and in some cases the percentage of enol form is more. So let us move on to the next concept that completes your isomerism concept. So let us move on to the next concept called fundamental concept in organic reaction mechanism. Fundamental concept in organic reaction mechanism. Fundamental concept in organic reaction mechanism. Concepts in organic reaction mechanism. So any organic reaction or any chemical reaction is represented as reactants give rise to products. R is reactant, P is a product. So this is the simple representation of a organic reaction. Okay. Now, in order to explain this organic reaction, what do you mean by organic reaction? The reaction itself is nothing but the breaking of old bonds and formation of new bonds. What happens exactly during the chemical reaction, any chemical reaction? The breaking of old bonds takes place and the formation of new bonds takes place. So, during this breaking of the bond, the reaction, nature of the reaction is always endothermic. Endothermic means during breaking of the bond, the reacting molecule or the reactants always absorbs energy, but during bond formation is always exothermic. It always results in the liberation of energy. Correct? So, the bond formation, bond cleavage is involved during a chemical reaction. First, the old bond, breaking of the old bonds takes place and the formation of new bonds takes place, and that itself is nothing but a chemical change or a chemical reaction. So, that exactly the meaning of the reaction is, chemical reaction is breaking of old bonds and formation of new bonds. So, in detail, let us consider one more representation of organic reaction. I have given here is simple representation. Reactants gets converted to products, but in organic reactions the reacting molecules are of two types. So in detail we can represent the reaction, organic reaction, as substrate. Organic reactions are as substrate and attacking reagent, which gives rise to intermediate. Subsequently it gives products and byproducts. So it gives products and byproducts, or product along with the byproduct. So maybe both are products, or it may be the one is a product, another one is a byproduct, which having the less importance during a chemical reaction. So this is the detailed representation of any organic reaction. So organic reaction involving two types of reacting molecules. One is substrate, another one is attacking reagent, and when attacking reagent attacks on this, first it gives intermediate, then only it gives product. When this undergo again the recombination of the intermediates takes place, and that results in the formation of products, the required product and the byproduct. So this is the detailed representation of a organic reaction. Now let us consider, what do you mean by substrate? What do you mean by substrate? Substrate is nothing but an organic reacting molecule which containing carbon, and it undergoes chemical change. So reacting molecule which containing carbon or which provides carbon for new bond formation and which undergo chemical change, and by the attack of attacking reagent. When attacking reagent attacks on the substrate molecule, the molecule containing carbon, or you can call it as covalent compounds, carbon containing compound, they are nothing but the covalent compounds, it undergo chemical change. So the second molecule is nothing but attacking reagent, or simply you can call it as reagent. So this is one more reacting molecule which brings chemical change in substrate molecule after its attack. So attacking reagent is that which brings chemical change in the substrate molecule. What do you mean by chemical change? Chemical change is nothing but a chemical reaction. So what do you mean by a chemical reaction? Initially I have given the definition that the chemical change, the chemical reaction involving the breaking of old bonds and the formation of new bonds, which means to say, when attacking reagent attacks on the substrate molecule which containing carbon, so this attacking reagent brings chemical change in the substrate molecule. So chemical change means the breaking of the old bonds takes place in a substrate molecule. So then the third one here is called intermediate. So intermediates are nothing but the species, they are unstable species. Very important, they are unstable species which are formed when the attacking reagent attacks on the substrate molecule. So attacking reagent, when it attacks on the substrate molecule, whatever the species obtained after the breaking of old bonds, and they are nothing but intermediates, and these intermediates are highly unstable. They are highly unstable as they are formed by the breaking of old bonds in a substrate molecule. Clear? So two types of reacting molecule, substrate and the attacking reagent, and in substrate molecule it containing carbon and it undergoes chemical change, and this chemical change may takes place by the attack of attacking reagent, and sometimes in substrate molecule it itself undergoes chemical change due to the reaction condition. Attacking reagent attack ಮಾಡಲೇಬೇಕು ಅಂತಿಲ್ಲ, due to reaction conditions also in a substrate molecule the cleavage of the old bond takes place, the chemical change takes place in a substrate molecule. When the attacking reagent attacks on the substrate molecule, when it undergoes chemical change, whatever the species obtained, they are unstable, and those unstable species are called intermediates. When these intermediates again combine together, they are again undergo association or the dissociation, and they results in the formation of a new bonds, and that results in the formation of products and the byproducts. When the bond formation, new bond formation takes place, the species gets stabilized due to the liberation of energy, and that compound is nothing but a product. Product is always a stable compound. It is always a stable compound. So this is about the representation of organic reaction. But what the heading we have given, fundamental concepts in organic reaction mechanism. What do you mean by reaction mechanism then? Reaction mechanism. What do you mean by reaction mechanism? So, detailed step-by-step description about the conversion of substrate or the reacting molecule into product. So, detailed step by step conversion of reactants to the product, means how the bond breaking of the old bonds takes place and how the attacking reagent attacks on the substrate molecule, what type of unstable intermediate species are formed after the breaking of old bonds, and how they undergo recombination to get the stable product. So this detailed step by step during the step-by-step detailed explanation about the conversion of reactants to the products is nothing but reaction mechanism, or a sequential account of each step, a sequential account of each step which describes the details about electron movement, how the movement of the electron takes place, energetics during bond cleavage and the bond formation, bond breaking and the bond formation. What is the energetics takes place? Energetic means how much of energy is taken during the cleavage of the old bonds and how much of energy is get released during the formation of new bonds. Energetics during bond cleavage and the bond formation. Again, the rates of transformation of reactants to the products, or you can call it as kinetics. How much of reactants gets converted to products, under what time it gets converted to, how much of time it is required for the conversion of so much of reactants to the products. Kinetics, rates, or the speed, velocity of a reaction, that we can call it as kinetics. All this sequential account is given in step-by-step description is nothing but reaction mechanism. A reaction mechanism is nothing but a sequential account of each step which describes details about electron movement, energetics during bond breaking and bond formation, and also rates of transformation of reactants to the products, or you can call it as kinetics, and that is referred to as reaction mechanism. So fundamental concepts. Fundamental concepts means how the breaking of the bond takes place and what type of and under what way the chemical bond undergoes cleavage and how the bond formation takes place is nothing but fundamental concepts in organic reaction mechanism, and this concept is very important. So when the attacking reagent attacks on the substrate molecule, the covalent bonds present in a substrate molecule undergoes cleavage, or you can call it as fission of a covalent bond takes place. What it is called? Fission of covalent bond. What it is called? Fission of covalent bond. Fission or cleavage or breaking of covalent bonds. Where these covalent bonds are present? Covalent bonds are present in a substrate molecule. They are nothing but the covalent compounds. They undergo chemical change. When the breaking or the cleavage of the covalent bonds takes place, when the attacking reagent attacks on the substrate molecule, sometimes the covalent bonds present in a substrate molecule itself undergoes the chemical change without the presence of attacking reagent due to the condition, reaction condition. So the fission or the cleavage or the breaking of the covalent bonds takes place in a substrate molecule when the attacking reagent attacks on the substrate molecule. There are two ways where the covalent bond undergoes fission. So when attacking reagent attacks on the substrate molecule, the fission of the covalent bonds takes place, cleavage of the covalent bond takes place. That takes place in two ways. Fission of the covalent bonds in substrate molecule takes place in two ways. What are those? First one is homolytic fission. Homolytic fission. and the second one is heterolytic fission. Homolytic fission and the heterolytic fission. Homolytic cleavage and the heterolytic cleavage. So, the covalent bonds present in a substrate molecule, either it may undergo homolytic fission or the heterolytic fission. That depends on three conditions. First condition is depends on the nature of the substrate molecule, and the second condition depending on the nature of the attacking reagent, and the third condition is it depends on reaction condition. Under what condition the chemical reaction takes place. On the basis of that, either the substrate, the covalent bonds present in a substrate molecule, either it undergoes homolytic fission or the heterolytic fission. So, let me give the first one, homolytic fission, and under what condition the covalent bonds undergo homolytic fission. So, let me give the homolytic fission. Homolytic fission of covalent bonds. Homolytic fission of covalent bonds. So, let me give the example. This is the molecule. So, there is a covalent bond between the two atoms. Two atoms are similar atoms here. I took similar atoms A, and there is a covalent bond. And as we know that the bond formation takes place by the two electrons. Two electrons are required for one bond formation. And the covalent bonds are of two types. You know that one is polar covalent bond. Sigma bond is further classified into polar and non-polar, correct? So, covalent bonds are of two types, one is pi bond, another one is sigma bond. Again, sigma bond is classified into two types, that is polar covalent bond and non-polar covalent bond. So, polar and the non-polar covalent bonds are present in a substrate molecule, correct? So, now the homolytic cleavage of this covalent bond is nothing but it is a symmetrical cleavage of a covalent bond. It is nothing but symmetrical cleavage. Symmetrical cleavage of covalent bond. So, during homolytic cleavage, what happens? The symmetrical cleavage of a covalent bond takes place in such a way that each bonded atom or a group of atoms, it may be atom or group of atoms, each bonded atoms gets one electron of shared pair. So, during homolytic fission of a covalent bond, the symmetrical cleavage of a covalent bond takes place in such a way that each bonded atom or group of atoms get one electron from the shared pair or the bonded pair of electrons. One bond formation requires two electrons, and this is called bonded pair of electrons or shared pair of electrons. Why it is called shared pair of electrons? Because covalent bond is formed by the equal sharing of pair of electrons between the two combining atoms. Therefore, during symmetrical cleavage of a covalent bond, each bonded atom gets one electron from the shared pair or the bonded pair. So, since this involves the movement of the single electron on an atom, so it involves the movement of a single electron in an atom, on an atom. So, this is represented or it is denoted by half-headed curved arrow, half-headed curved arrow, half-headed curved arrow, which shows the movement of a single electron. You can also call it as fish hook. Fish hook. So, it shows the movement of a single electron because symmetrical cleavage of a covalent bond takes place. Each bonded atom or a group of atom gets one electron from the shared pair or the bonded pair. Since it involves the movement of a single electron, it is denoted by half-headed curved arrow, and it is nothing but fish hook. So this atom gets one electron and another atom also get one electron. So you can call this as unpaired electron. Dotted line indicates unpaired electron. Unpaired electron, because the paired electron is now get separated and it locates on the two bonded atoms. This is unpaired electron, correct? So unpaired electron is denoted by a dot, and the atom are a group of atoms. The bonded atom are group of atoms once it gets unpaired electron after the homolytic cleavage, and these are called in general fragments. Interrelativity fragments. So the atom are a group of atoms which are obtained after the homolytic cleavage of a covalent bond are called fragments, and these fragments are containing one unpaired electron and it is denoted by dot. Clear? Atom are a group of atoms which containing unpaired electron after the homolytic cleavage of a covalent bond are generally called fragments, and these fragments are electrically neutral species. Electrically neutral species and containing odd number of electrons. Odd number of electrons, and therefore they are called free radicals. They are called free radicals. They always containing odd number of electrons. They are electrically neutral and they are highly reactive. They are highly reactive. So please remember this, they are highly reactive and they are electrically neutral and they are having odd number of electrons. So what are those fragments? And these fragments are called free radicals. The atom are the group of atoms which are obtained after the homolytic cleavage of a covalent bond in a reacting molecule or a substrate molecule are called fragments, and these fragments are highly reactive, electrically neutral species, highly reactive, electrically neutral species which containing odd number of electrons, and they are called free radicals. So when this homolytic cleavage takes place, so this takes place in the presence of diffused sunlight or UV radiation. So this is the one condition, and second condition, on strong heating in some reacting molecules, on strong heating the homolytic cleavage takes place, and in some cases in the presence of organic peroxide. When a reaction takes place in the presence of organic peroxide as a solvent, then also homolytic cleavage takes place. In some cases, due to electrolysis, by passing electric current through the aqueous solution, there also the homolytic cleavage takes place. The symmetrical cleavage takes place, and the species so formed or the fragments so formed are nothing but free radicals. Under what conditions the free radical formation takes place? During organic reactions. So the free radicals formation takes place during organic reactions when a reaction is taking place in a presence under diffused sunlight, or it takes place on strong heating, and sometimes in the presence of organic peroxide as a medium. Organic peroxide, one example you can give, dibenzoyl peroxide. Dibenzoyl peroxide. Commonly used peroxide is dibenzoyl. So this is dibenzoyl peroxide. This is benzoyl, correct? Dibenzoyl peroxide. O to O linkage is called peroxide linkage. Dibenzoyl peroxide as a medium. So where you will get the homolytic cleavage or the symmetric cleavage of a bond. And the very important condition, this is preferably takes place where the bond is non-polar in nature. So the homolytic cleavage in most of the cases takes place when the bond, covalent bond is non-polar. What do you mean by non-polar bond? The difference in the electronegativity of the two bonded atoms is very less, or it is almost same. So ಯಾವಾಗ ಟೂ ಬಾಂಡೆಡ್ ಆಟಮ್ಸ್ ಇನ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋನೆಗೆಟಿವಿಟಿ ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಆಗ ದ ನೇಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಕೋವಲೆಂಟ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವೇನ್ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? ನಾನ್ ಪೋಲಾರ್ ಕೋವಲೆಂಟ್ ಬಾಂಡ್. ಇಟ್ ಪ್ರಿಫರಬಲಿ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ನಾನ್ ಪೋಲಾರ್ ಕೋವಲೆಂಟ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ವೇರ್ ದ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರೋನೆಗೆಟಿವಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ದ ಟೂ ಆಟಮ್ಸ್ is almost same. So these are all the conditions under which the homolytic cleavage of a covalent bond takes place, and that results in the formation of intermediates called free radicals. What type of intermediates formed when the homolytic cleavage of the covalent bonds takes place in a substrate molecule? The name of intermediates are nothing but free radicals. What are free radicals? They are highly reactive electrically neutral species which containing odd number of electrons. So for example, one more example I'll give here. Consider chlorine molecule Cl. It whenever the reaction taking place in the presence of diffused sunlight, see here, symmetric cleavage of the bond takes place between two chlorine atoms, correct? And since it involves the movement of a single electron, that should be denoted by using fish hook. The chlorine molecule gets converted to Cl dot plus Cl dot. What are these called? Chlorine free radicals. What are these called? Chlorine free radicals. Correct? So it results in the formation of chlorine free radicals, and it takes place in the presence of diffused sunlight. Okay? Similarly, in this case also there may be a chances of homolytic cleavage, that depending on the condition. CH4, methane, you can write it as CH3H. The covalent bond between carbon and hydrogen, as you know that the electronegativity difference of carbon and hydrogen is very less. So therefore the nature of the bond is almost non-polar. So here also it may takes place in the presence of diffused sunlight. This may also undergo homolytic cleavage, and it results in the formation of carbon gets one unpaired electron and hydrogen gets unpaired electron. This is called methyl free radical. What it is called? Methyl free radical, and this is hydrogen free radical. Hydrogen free radical. See, when methane molecule, in methane molecule, when carbon to hydrogen bond undergoes homolytic cleavage, again you will get two free radicals. One is methyl free radical, another one is hydrogen free radical. So these are the free radicals, are the reaction intermediates formed when the homolytic cleavage or the homolytic fission of a covalent bonds takes place in a substrate molecule. Remember, organic reactions which proceed with this homolytic fission, then those reactions are called free radical reactions, or non-polar reactions. You can also call it as non-polar reaction, or you can also call it as homopolar reactions. So whenever the organic reactions which proceed with the homolytic fission of a covalent bonds present in a substrate molecule, then those reactions are always termed as free radical reactions or non-polar reactions. So organic reactions anta bandru andre now substitution heltivi, addition anta heltivi. So the prefix used before the nature of the reaction is always free radical, like free radical substitution, free radical addition, because the addition takes place through the formation of free radicals. So such organic reactions which involving homolytic fission of covalent bonds in a substrate molecule are referred to as free radical reactions or non-polar reactions. Clear? Now, let us move on to the second type of bond cleavage. Second type, that is heterolytic fission of covalent bond. Second one, heterolytic fission of covalent bonds. Heterolytic fission of covalent bonds, or you can call it as unsymmetrical cleavage. Unsymmetrical cleavage of a covalent bonds present in substrate molecule. Let me give the example. Now I have changed the bonded atoms A and B. So between A and B there is a covalent bond, and for bond formation we require 2 electrons here. When the heterolytic cleavage takes place, during heterolytic cleavage, the cleavage of the bond takes place like this. This type of cleavage is called unsymmetrical cleavage, so that both the shared electrons or both the bonded electrons, it goes with one of the bonded atoms. In symmetric, each takes one electron, but in this case both the electrons goes with one of the bonded atoms. So let me give this pair of electrons goes with B. Why it is towards B? Because B is here, B is more electronegative than A. Then you know under what condition the heterolytic cleavage takes place. The heterolytic cleavage takes place when the covalent bonds are what? Polar in nature. So it preferably takes place in polar covalent bonds. When a molecule containing polar covalent bonds, then definitely heterolytic cleavage takes place. What do you mean by polar covalent bond? The covalent bond between the two bonded atoms which are differ in electronegativity. When there is a much difference in the electronegativity, then the nature of the bond is called polar covalent bond. So heterolytic fission is preferably takes place in case of polar covalent bond. Since B is more electronegative than A, during heterolytic cleavage, both the bonded pair of electron goes with B. When both the electrons goes with B, then what happens? So one atom gets positive charge, another atom gets negative charge. Means this atom gets sextet electronic structure. So this gets sextet electronic structure. What do you mean by sextet electronic structure here? Sextet electronic structure means this atom possesses 6 electrons in the valence shell. One of the bonded atoms gets the sextet electronic structure. It does not get any bonded pair of electron. Therefore, it gets sextet electronic structure. And this sextet electronic structure atom or a group of atoms possess a positive charge. You can also call it as cation. Any atom or group of atoms, if it possesses a positive charge, then you can call it as cation. Another bonded atom which takes both the electrons on it, then it gets an valence octet structure. In a valence shell, it gets an octet structure in which it containing one lone pair electrons. So this atom gets 8 electrons in the valence shell, in which one is lone pair electrons. So one must be lone pair of electrons. This is lone pair electrons. So with a negative charge, hence it is called anion. So after the heterolytic cleavage, the intermediates formed are nothing but cation and the anion. Cation is that the atom or a group of atoms which possess a positive charge where the central atom gets the sextet electronic structure, whereas the another anion which gets a octet structure, but out of 8 electrons, 2 electrons, or there must be one lone pair of electrons. What do you mean by lone pair? The pair of electrons which are present in a pair of electrons which is present in a valence shell which is not involved in bond formation, because it is taken after the cleavage of a covalent bond, heterolytic cleavage of a covalent bond. These 2 electrons present on B, so which does not undergoing any bond formation, and therefore that pair of electrons is nothing but lone pair electrons. So one is having sextet electronic structure and you can call it as a cation because it possesses a positive charge. Other is possess octet structure in which one is lone pair of electron with a negative charge. You can call it as cation and anion, but in organic reaction mechanism, cation, that is positively charged species with the sextet electronic structures, are called electrophiles. Electrophile. This is nothing but an electrophile, and the atom or a group of atom which takes both the electrons during heterolytic fission and which containing octet structure in which one is lone pair of electron with a negative charge, then it is called nucleophile. Nucleophile. Now, what are the intermediates formed after homolytic fission andre free radicals anta kariteve. Now, what are the intermediates which are obtained after heterolytic fission of a covalent bonds? They are nothing but electrophile and a nucleophile. Heterolytic fission ಆದರೆ heterolytic fission of covalent bonds ಆಯಿತು ಅಂದರೆ the intermediates formed are nothing but electrophile and nucleophile. Under what condition heterolytic fission takes place? So it is most preferably takes place in the compound containing polar covalent bonds. And the second condition, during heterolytic cleavage, the bonded pair of electron always goes with more electronegative bonded atom. Clear? Since it involves the movement of two electrons, since it involves the movement of a pair of electrons, it is denoted by one-headed curved arrow. Single electron na fish hook anta karadvi, half-headed curved arrow. So pair of electron movement ಆದರೆ pair of electrons movement ಆದರೆ ಅದನ್ನ denote ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ? one-headed curved arrow. It is denoted by one-headed curved arrow. So these are the conditions under which the heterolytic fission of a covalent bond takes place. It takes place preferably where the substrate molecule containing polar covalent bonds. Clear? Polar covalent bonds. So these are the reaction intermediates formed when the heterolytic fission of covalent bonds takes place. So the organic reactions which proceed with the heterolytic fission of a covalent bonds are called ionic reactions, and they are also called polar reactions. They are nothing but polar reactions. So let me give the examples here. Whenever we are considering organic reactions here, especially the fundamental concepts in organic reaction mechanism, let me give the covalent compound here, CH3Br, that is methyl bromide. What is the name of this compound? Methyl bromide. Correct? Methyl bromide, in which the bond is between carbon and bromine, and as you know that bromine is more electronegative than carbon. So here is a pair of electron. So the bond cleavage takes place in this way. That is, the carbon to bromine bond undergoes cleavage in such a way that both the electrons are goes with bromine. So what you get? You will get CH3 plus and Br minus. CH3 plus. Here carbon gets the positive charge, therefore it is called carbocation, or you can call it as methyl carbocation, or you can also call it as carbonium ion. So since carbon gets the positive charge, whenever in a intermediate, reaction intermediate, if carbon possesses a positive charge, then you can call it as carbocation. Carbon containing positive charge is carbocation. Since here is a methyl group is there, you can call it as methyl carbocation. Ethyl carbocation, like that it comes, or it is also called carbonium ion. In this methyl carbocation containing sextet electronic structure. Around the carbon there are 6 electrons, means it requires 2 more electrons to complete the octet structure. Whereas Br minus, bromide ion containing octet structure, which acts as a nucleophile. This is electrophile and this is nucleophile. So carbocation and a bromide ions, that is methyl carbocation and bromide ion, are formed when the heterolytic cleavage takes place when methyl is bonded to Br. That is methyl and carbon, between carbon and bromine there is a bond, then it undergoes heterolytic cleavage. So one more example that I can give here, it is if the compound is of this type, CH3H. So here there is a carbon to hydrogen bond, and as you know that carbon is slightly more electronegative compared to that of hydrogen. If the heterolytic cleavage, if it takes place in this case, means the pair of electron is taken by CH3, then you can give it as CH3 minus and H plus, and CH3 is called carbon ion. So carbon ion means carbon containing negative charge, or it is called as methyl carbon ion. So in methyl group, carbon containing a negative charge. And what about this proton, H plus? Correct? So this is electrophile and this is the nucleophile. In most of the organic reactions, the nucleophiles and electrophiles, where the carbon containing positive and a negative charge, instead of calling electrophiles and the nucleophiles, you can call it as carbocation and the carbon ion. They are nothing but nucleophiles. Carbocation is electrophile, carbon ion is a nucleophile. The another name for that is carbocation and the carbon ion. Why we have to call? Because carbon containing positive charge, hence it is called carbocation, and carbon containing negative charge in an anion is carbon ion. Okay, so this is about the heterolytic fission of covalent bonds, and this takes place, more preferably it takes place in the compound containing polar covalent bonds. Clear? So let us move on to the next concept, that is let me give the definition for these reaction intermediates which are formed during homolytic and the heterolytic fission, that we can consider for few more examples for these free radicals, electrophiles and the nucleophile in the next class. Thank you.